Okay, so today I'm going to talk about light language and my experience throughout getting activated and then how that journey has changed. And now I'm actually vocalizing. I'm able to vocalize the sounds that come up when I channel light language. So I got activated when I went to do a training. So it was in person, and I went to the Gold Coast. So I went there to do 4 days training. So that was back in November. Yes, November. November last year. And I, so it was, we had activations every day. So in the first day, I was I felt the energy and I was in that zone where everyone was put in different chakras. So we were activated 7 times, focusing on different chakras. So at the end of day one, I felt like my hands were moving. I think it was my left, yes, my left hand just kept twitching and kept moving, and it was totally unconscious. So this is something that I've never experienced before. So my left hand was twitching and moving, and it didn't stop for maybe 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And my right hand wasn't doing anything, and I just felt like, yeah, the movement was coming through. I didn't have any sounds coming out through my mouth. It was just my hands. So that was day one. So day two, I think it was day two. Nothing really shifted, nothing really, I didn't feel a huge change. I was just anchoring more into believing and trusting myself to fully let go. And I told myself, I am powerful. So this was day one. Towards the end, I had to really let myself go. Like I was crying, I was releasing stuff. So then I could step into being and fully um, in the vibration of being activated. So day two passed, and day three, um, and day four. So day three and day four, I I definitely felt the energy, like both of my hands kind of started moving a little bit. However, that was all. Like my hands moved, and I could feel the energy come out through my hands in a much more powerful way. I will say it is much more powerful than Reiki. So I've done Reiki training. I've done Reiki 1, which I did in Perth back in 2018. And oh, actually, it's a funny story, which I'll mention in another video about how I found out about Reiki. So I did Reiki in 2018, and then I did Reiki Tumo in 2021 or 2022. So around that time, that was when I heard about Reiki Tumo. So regular Reiki is when you're channeling, you're opening up that crown chakra and allowing the light to come through. So you are a conduit, you're a channel for the light. So that's Reiki. It's only from the top down. So Reiki Tumo is, if you imagine all of our chakras, um, the what you're opening the channel from above. So Reiki Tumo is above and below. So from our base chakra, allowing the energy to come through there. So both up and down. So then it's like it did feel a little bit stronger than regular Reiki. I remember doing that, and I did feel something else. And from there, I moved on. I think that was I'm not sure exactly when I came across light language. I don't know the time of when I found out. However, I know that I came across it on YouTube, and I saw some YouTubers, not too many. Um, Maybe there was only like one or two um light language channels at the time that were really big and popular. So I back then I listened to the recordings, I listened to the sounds and what was being shared there. And I felt like, yeah, I there were some recordings that I heard and I actually felt an emotional shift, like energetic shift within me. So there is definitely something in that. However, I didn't really there was no connection of me actually being someone that could actually do it. So never crossed my mind. And I did listen to quite a bit of it just to really vibe in with the energy. And um, yeah, so that was my first encounter. And then eventually, when I found out that I could be trained in the modality, that was when I signed up. And yeah, so I did level one in November last year, and then in January this year, 2025, I did um, level two. So level two is there's no activations, it's just different processes that we learn, different things that we can do using this energy. So going back to what I mentioned with my hands it were moving, however, nothing else was coming out. Um, I started working with the other students to see if they could activate my voice, activate more coming out of my body other than my hands. So I, yes, I worked on that in the actual sessions. In the healing sessions, I asked them to set the intention and asked them to help me activate that part, open up my throat chakra. Um, so I didn't feel an immediate result. However, it was like I told myself that, okay, I'm gonna allow it to happen. It'll happen. The more I worked on connecting deeper with light language, and when I did that, I noticed that my relationship was actually stronger. It really strengthened my abilities in terms of how I think it felt like the channel was becoming, yeah, it was becoming stronger and very gradually. So over time, as I continued doing that every evening, so every night I have my thing that I do, which I'll explain in another video. Um, I have a daily or yeah, daily, definitely minimum daily connection with light language. And over time, I started to have little kind of tones, like kind of like whistles, like whistles. What it's called toning. So it's like toning the frequency of the air. And so that was coming out. And then next thing was I started to vocalize things, but it was very quiet. So over time, it became louder and it was like coming out in a normal voice, my normal voice. So right now, I feel into the energy, connect to my higher self. Kemalakia takia sukunu karakisi namaku amiaku tamiakia lakisia katu arikia moko ko kono konaksia maka. So I can now just go in and out quite quickly because I've just strengthened. I feel like it's just strengthening the channel and trusting that it will come. So that's been my progression. That's been my experience. And that's been so like the voice and the vocals didn't come out until after I did level two. So how many months is that? November, December. Yeah, so about 4 months after my first activation, that was when I started to have more vocalization. So that's been my journey, and I had a question come up with someone. They asked me about where does it actually come from? So what I do is I connect to my higher self and I connect to my higher self. And that's for my personal experience. I felt like, so it's either coming from your higher self or coming from your heart chakra. So for me, I felt a difference when I connected more to my higher self. I felt like the energy shift was stronger. And so I continued working with my higher self. So I connect to my higher self and allow the energy to come through my crown all the way through my chakras. And I'm also obviously I'm rooted to the earth, grounded to the earth, so then I don't fly away. So I'm receiving the energy from my higher self because my understanding is that my higher self is connected to the universe. So the universe has infinite energy. It is connected to everything. Um, so there's infinite energy in that it's connected to. So then I'm accessing that point, and that point is coming through me, and that is how I open up my channel, and then it comes out through my hands. Also work with codes. So that is what I want to talk about today. And I know that's probably a lot if you haven't heard much about light language. So let me know if you have any more questions. I love questions. I would love to hear your questions down below, and I'll see you in the next video.